Good evening and welcome to the programme. Tonight we look forward by looking back. If the negotiations do produce a result, will it be much different from what was on offer way back at Sunningdale? More later. To more immediate matters, it's been a week of ups and downs. The Ulster Unionist confrontation with Sinn Féin turned out to be more of a mild slap on the wrist. Sinn Féin survived the move to push them out, and lo and behold, now they're all marching on towards substantive issues. But where are they marching to? With his interpretation, I'm joined now by the Sinn Féin President, Gerry Adams. Mr. Adams, good evening and welcome to the programme.
Good evening, Noel.
David Trimble says you're taking faltering steps towards accepting partition. It's hard to refute that kind of claim, isn't it?
Well, I mean, let's see how far we have come. You will remember in interviews over the years, and then sometimes in very difficult circumstances, when I said to you and to other journalists, there will come the day when Sinn Féin, the other nationalists, the unionists will sit down around the table, that the two governments will be there in the room, that will be planning and working out a future. And justifiably, journalists may have been sceptical. That's how far we have come. We all listened over the last number of years to the blockages were put up, to the demand for decommissioning of IRA weapons before there could be proper talks. Last evening, and we should not diminish this or minimise this, last evening that deadlock was broken, and we're now all moving forward. Now, Mr. Trimble may want to put up some partitionist plan. That's fair enough, that's up to him. We are for a new Ireland. We're for an Ireland which is free of the British jurisdiction.
But what do you really think you're marching towards? What do you think you can offer the Republican movement next May?
Well, that isn't the issue at this time.
Well, it surely must be the issue, because you must go in with an idea of what's achievable.
No, not only do we have an idea, we see these negotiations as an area of struggle. We see these negotiations as a phase of struggle. And, you know, when you think back, we could have been at this point 3 years ago. And we think of all the people who have been killed in that 3 years and all of the difficulties in that 3 years. We shouldn't let any sort of defensive remark by David Trimble or anyone else deflect or minimise the stride which was taken last evening. Now, where are we going to? As far as we're concerned, there are three main areas which need to be sorted out. The key one is the issue of the union. That's on the agenda. I want to talk to David Trimble. I want to talk to the other unionist parties, if Mr. Paisley will come back in, to the British government. The other big issue is the issue of demilitarisation, of just getting a proper society, of getting all of the guns, all of the prisoners out, all of the dismantling of the war apparatus. And then the third issue is the issue of equality, which in my view should not be a matter even for negotiations, but should be argued and struggled for both inside and outside the negotiating.
Okay, now those first two, leaving equality aside for the moment, sound like what you might experience in your warmest dreams tucked up in bed at night. Realistically, you know, and the agreement of all the other parties to the consent definition tells you that a United Ireland is not even on the table here, really.
Well, United Ireland, if I may say so, Noel, is on the table. And Sinn Féin have put it on the table because those who vote for our party give us the mandate to do so. The Irish government is constitutionally bound to argue for that objective. The SDLP supports the notion of a new and agreed Ireland, and the new government in London has within its policy objectives that objective as well. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying that we're going to all of a sudden, you know, see a road of Damascus conversion of unionism to United Irelandism. But what I am saying is this: what we have had so far has failed, including Sunningdale. All of it has failed. Now, we're a small island. We are 5 million people. The unionists are more distrustful, more contemptible, more contemptuous of the British than we are. Can we not even have a discussion, a debate, a negotiation which puts that issue up there along with all the others?
Those other parties agree to how this agreement, if it arrives, will be implemented. It will be implemented seeking the majority of consensus in the north of Ireland and in the south of Ireland at the same time.
Well,
so consent in everyone else's definition but yours is the consent of the majority of people of Northern Ireland. That is unshiftable. It's written in as a guiding principle of the whole process.
Well, with respect again, we want consent. But we see consent as a two-way street, because the nationalists have to give their consent also. And there's no one in the south of Ireland would consent to nationalists remaining under British rule in this part of Ireland. So at the very least, what is required is fundamental political in
But
constitutional change.
nationalists already have given their consent because the SDLP agreed to the definition of consent as being the majority of the people in.
I don't want to be trying to paraphrase or to represent the SDLP's position.
But they signed up to it in Dublin at the forum, and they signed up to
a position with me that an internal settlement is not a solution. In other words, that the type of coupled together arrangement within this statelet won't work again. And both governments have signed up to that as well, even the framework document. We would like to see the framework document very much as the bottom line, but the framework document is of an all-Ireland character. Now, let's deal with this in terms of, if you like, legitimacy. It appears that a unionist can come in and say, or a British Prime Minister, that the union will remain intact. But a Republican or a nationalist cannot come in and make the same point about Irish unity. And it's important that we have a level playing pitch here, because the governments have said that no outcome is predetermined. And when I say
they have predetermined the outcome by everyone signing up to this notion of consent.
Well,
you called consent, that notion of consent, a bogus deceit and the last refuge of a scoundrel.
Well, consent, you see, as the unionist would describe it, and I made the point yesterday, no one else would go along with Mr. Trimble's version or of the unionist version of consent, where he says it will govern every single aspect of both these talks and every other aspect of life in this part of the island.
But it's a guiding principle.
No, but consent is what you seek. So you go to the unionist, and all the nationalists will do this, I hope, and you seek their consent. You say to them, what are you afraid of in United Ireland? Can you not agree to this version, that version? And you go actively negotiating, fighting, arguing.
But they've already agreed all that, and they say they don't even need your consent because the agreement will be decided on a consensual basis, not a unanimous.
Well, now, what we are into now are inclusive all-party talks on the substantive issues. They said that Stormont would never fall. They said that the B specials would never be disbanded. They said that the UDR would never be disbanded. Let's not be, misled by what they say. People out there who I've met this morning understand the significance and the importance of what happened in Stormont last night. They see it as a major breakthrough, as a breaking of a deadlock which just bogged down and was strangling this whole process, and which in fact broke the last process. Now, ordinary people see this as an opportunity which is unparalleled in the last 75 years. And I think ordinary people want to see a radical transformation of the situation. The Republican vision is to see a transformation on constitutional issues, institutional issues, political, social, economic, and cultural issues. Whether we get that
vision is shared by only 15% of the population. The other 85 want to see you accepting this definition of consent.
Isn't that what the negotiations are going to be all about? Because the reality is, even if we accept for the sake of debate that we're not going to get as far as I want to go, do you not think that everybody appreciates that there has to be fundamental change, that it has to be more significant than we've ever seen before, and that the whole tide of history, the whole tide of events is moving forward into a situation where the people of this island can govern our own affairs in a way which respects unionism, respects nationalism, brings in equality, and has people living in peaceful coexistence together.
And will you be able to sell next May to the IRA?
Well, let's see what we agree to next May. Let's see how far we get on the road towards peace and democracy, because there are many problems facing us, but we have seen huge movement this week. Let's build on that. Let's consolidate that. Let's not be deflected from that by begrudgers, naysayers, or by the pessimistic scenario. We have a great opportunity.
Terrorism.
We have a great opportunity.
Or by terrorism.
By anything. Because I wasn't deflected, Noel. I know you use these provocative terms. I wasn't deflected when terrorists shot me. I wasn't deflected when I was going to funerals of Sinn Féin people who were killed. I could give you a litany of reasons. I wasn't deflected when the unions brought in their silly little effort to get Sinn Féin put out of the talks. We will not be deflected from our Republican objectives. We will not be deflected from our peace strategy.
Adams, thank you very much.